Sakto lang, magre-record ako. Ayan. So, again, since we are going to start our lesson for today, it's all about random variables. So, as I was saying earlier, random variables are important because these are the variables that is needed in your researches. So, bakit nga ba sa dinabi namin ng variables, random variables yung kailangan natin? Okay. So today we will be having two topics. So first one is we have random variables and the number two is later. Sige, reveal natin later. So what is a random variable? A random variable is a variable whose possible values are determined by chance. So when we say by chance, ano ibig sabihin nun? Sige nga. When we say by chance, pag by chance, ibig sabihin, ano? So if we are going to relate a Filipino word that we students, even me, when I was a student, I used this word when I took the exam. So, uy, na-perfect mo yung, yung math, ang galing. And then, sometimes we say, chamba lang. Tama, di ba? Or chamba. Ay, sorry. Nawala. Ito. So, chamba. Di ba? We say chamba. Bakit chamba? Chamba actually is a colloquial word, 'di ba, sa Filipino mayroon tayong tinatawag na mga yung uri ng salita ba? Yung mga ganon. So, chamba is formed colloquially from the word by chance. Ibig sabihin, na perfect natin yung exam by chance. Like what? Pag sinabi kasi natin chamba, it's like hindi imposible mangyari, like may chance kaya ako naka-perfect. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na parang na mahina ako sa math, pero na perfect, baka pwede ko ma-perfect yung exam with a small probability, like by chance. Kaya nakakachamba lang ako. Ibig sabihin, there's a probability that you can correct or you can have a correct answer or you may even perfect a test. Tama? And sa tingin nyo kaya, bakit by chance? Pag sinabi nating by chance, kung ang random variable is anything, any event, any object that is happened by chance, anong ibig sabihin nun? May kinalaman ba siya? As I'm saying kanina, since ito yung mga variables na kailangan natin sa research, may kinalaman ba yon na kailangan yung mga bagay by chance nangyayari para ma-consider natin na na hanapan siya ng research or i-consider siya as variable ng research? Di ba? So, sige ako na lang. Bakit ba natin kinukuha yung random variable sa research? Kasi nga, these variables are happened or the random variables are variables that is what? Happened or determined by chance. So it happened by chance. Kapag nangyayari siya by chance, like the weather, we cannot predict the weather. It might rain, it might be cloudy, it might be windy, it might be sunny, di ba? With a chance of meatballs, like, that joke lang. I mean, my point is that we cannot predict it, di ba? Hindi natin pwedeng sadyain, di ba? Parang hindi na yung mga bagay na ganon, hindi natin ma-predict yung answer or hindi natin ma-predict kung ano yung mismong hinahanap natin. Hindi rin natin ma-manipulate or sadyain yung mga bagay. Ngayon, kaya siya kino-consider as variable ng research. Kasi nga, ba't nga ba natin nahahanapan ng kasagutan ng isang bagay? Bakit nga ba natin i-research ang isang bagay na alam rin naman natin yung patutunguhan? Tama? Ba't pa tayo magre-research ng 1 plus 1 kung alam din naman natin at the end 2 yon? Right? Pero kailangan pa ba natin i-research kapag may possibility kaya na pwedeng inumin ng tubig dagat? 'Di ba? 'Yon. Kasi yun yung mga bagay na hindi pwedeng sadyain. 'di ba? Kasi the nature of the salt water is tawag dito, ano yung term? Hindi siya undrinkable, hindi siya potable, 'di ba? Hindi siya naiinom, 'yun. So kaya ginagamit si random variable as a variable for research. Ayun. I'm not saying that all variables in a research is a random variable. Yet, I know that most of the variables used in a research is a random variable. Kasi hindi ako pwede mag-assert na lahat kasi baka baka may research diyan na predictable naman yung sir, bakit pinag-aralan pa yung mga ganun. O at least safe ako. Pero most talaga. Baka kasi 'di ba nag-iba na yung mundo. Ganun. Ay, 'yon. So, a random variable can be either discrete or continuous. So, a random variable is classified accordingly. Since this is a variable, and usually a variable can be represented by numbers, that description can divide or can categorize our random variable. So we have here discrete random variable and continuous random variable. Dalawa lang yan siya. So if you have read our module, ayan, malalaman nyo yung kaibahan niya. Okay? So, ito. Padaanin ko lang yung ayan. So, a discrete random variable can only take a finite or countable number of distinct values. So, ibig sabihin, a discrete random variable is what? Is somewhat countable. When we say countable, nabibilang siya. Okay? So, actually, the strands in a human hair, the hair of a human is countable. It's that na tawag dito, na countable siya in a way na mahirap lang bilangin kasi nga marami. Still, it's countable. And the strand of hair is a human variable. A human hair is a random variable. Okay? So, why is it countable? And what are the numbers can be represented using a discrete random variable? So, ayan. Distinct values mean values that are exact and can be represented by a non-negative whole number. Ibig sabihin po, a discrete random variable is countable and that it is represented by a non-negative whole number. Kasi when we say countable, usually, paano ba tayo magbilang? Sige nga. Paano tayo magbilang? Sige, magtawag ako. Sino ba pwedeng tawagin? Sige, dahil random tayo ha. Sige, si Carl. Carl. Mr. Magallanes. Paano ka magbilang? Yung casual counting. Paano ka magbilang?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, sir.
Okay, very good. Ibig sabihin, ano yung natin doon? Ano yung ma-observe natin doon? Yung mga numbers na yun ay whole number. So, ibig sabihin, kapag ang isang variable, ang isang object na discrete random variable is pwedeng bilangin, it is a discrete random variable. Mali ako. Dapat kapag yung isang variable or isang object is madali lang bilangin at kayang bilangin, that is a discrete random variable. Okay? So, ayun yun. Yun siya. So, let's take for example, ano yung mga example ng discrete random variable na pwede natin gamitin? Ay, sorry, nawala. So, pwedeng number of siblings do you have? Pwedeng 0, di ba? Pwede naman 0 kasi actually, pag nagbibilang tayo, pwede naman tayo mag-start sa 0. Nagsa-start lang yung number natin, yung 1 natin kapag may nabilang na tayo. Pero pag wala tayong nabibilang, technically, we begin our counting at 0. Right? Diba? O pag wala ka pang nabilang, 0 yon. Hindi mo na sinasabi. Pero pag may tinuro ka na nabibilangin, 1, o doon na magsa-start. Hindi naman tayo pwede magbilang ng negative, diba? -1, -2. Hindi naman ganon, 'di ba? So, in a context of concrete objects, hindi natin pwedeng ma-represent si -1 in counting. Okay? Kasi ang -1, kapag kinonsider na natin siya as as a concrete object, it is something na nawala sa'yo, na kinuha sa'yo, yung number na yon, di ba? Pero in a normal setup of counting, walang negative number doon. Yon. So ano pa? Bukod sa number of siblings, pwedeng wala akong kapatid, pwedeng may isang kapatid. In my case, I have 2 siblings, 2 younger siblings. So that is a discrete random variable. It's whole number. Buo. Hindi naman ako pwede magkaroon ng negative na kapatid. Ano yun, namatay, gano'n. Hindi naman gano'n. Hindi naman pwede na kalahati lang yung kapatid ko, like ulo lang siya, gano'n, di ba? Wala naman gano'n. So it's a discrete random variable. What else? Okay, so ano pa ba yung pwede?
Number of pets po.
Okay, now speaking of pets, I have 2 pets here. Okay, number of pets. O, di ba? Pwedeng 2. Kami dito sa bahay, ilan yung pets namin? 4. Plus mga chickens na narinig sa background. Ayun. So, pwede yun. Kasi hindi naman, bilangin lang natin kung ilang hayop meron sa bahay nyo or pets dito sa bahay nyo. That is a random variable. Hindi naman pwede nating i-count na kalahati lang yung yung dog kasi kalahati lang talaga siya, like half lang yung body niya, 'di ba? So yun ay discrete random variable. Even the number of books inside your bag, even the number of pens do you have in your pencil case, or even the number of members of your family inside your home or inside your house, or the number of medals you get during your junior high school, or what else? Or number of awards you get in your junior high school. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng kalahati lang yun kasi share kami, tayo kami, hindi naman pwedeng ganun, di ba? Ano pa ba? Yun yung mga ganong bagay, class, because it's easily countable. It is a discrete random variable. Basta nabibilang. Yun lang yung condition doon. Ngayon, pag hindi siya nabibilang, o yun na tayo sa kabila. That is a continuous random variable. So, a continuous random variable can assume an infinite number of values in an interval between 2 specific values. Okay? So, kapag I remember reading a book entitled, if you're familiar with The Fault in Our Stars, may movie adaptation yan siya. Ayan. So, hindi ko nakikwento yung story kasi abutin tayo ng alas 4. Na joke lang. There's a quote there that strikes me because it is related to math. It states that it's not really actually the line that I'm going to tell. Siguro yung excerpt niya lang, I mean the summary siguro. Ganon. Tapos, sige, wait lang. Okay, so ayun. So, the line states that in bigger infinities, the bigger infinities is made up of smaller infinities. So, our concept kasi ng infinity, it's like, di ba, when we count 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and so on, and so on. Walang katapusan yon. And that is our concept of infinity, right? But little did we know, actually, nung narinig ko lang yun, doon ko lang na-realize na, no, na from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, which is a big infinities, there are smaller infinities in between the numbers. Like from 0 to 1, maraming mga numbers in between 0 to 1, which is not countable, right? It's not countable. From 0, bago tayo makarating ng 1, yun nga, may mga numbers in between doon. Like pwedeng 0.1, pwedeng 0.01, pwedeng 0.00000, and so on and 1. Diba? Bago pa mag-0 and so on and 2. Diba? Like marami. Pwede rin 0.1 million 1. Diba? Possible yun siya. Kasi nga, may mga infinities infinities in between those numbers. And yung mga number na in between whole numbers or interval are considered in a continuous random variable. Ayan. So, this means that our continuous random variable can assume values that can be represented not only by a non-negative whole number, but also by fractions and decimals. Diba? O sa tingin nyo class, dahil nga yung mga pets, mga books, hindi pwede i-decimal, yung number of people, number of students, 'di ba? Hindi yun siya pwede i-decimal because those are discrete random variable. Ano kaya yung mga bagay na pwede nating i-consider as a continuous random variable? Sige nga.
Sir.
Yes,
Sir.
sige, sino muna ba?
Sir, temperature po.
Okay, very good. Temperature. What else? What else? Kasi tama, may temperature decimal, di ba? Pag ano yung thermal scanner, 36.2. Tapos pag nag 37.7 ba yung 37.5, bawal ka na pumasok kasi may lagnat ka na raw. May COVID, gano'n. What else? Ano pa yung mga decimal sa tingin ninyo? Or fraction?
Average.
Yes, Ivy?
Average po or grade.
Yun, di ba? Pag nag-average tayo or nag-grade. Yes, technically, kino-consider natin yung decimal pa noon. Pero ngayon, kasi whole number na lang siya. Though, kino-consider pa rin natin yung decimal kasi nga, paano natin malalaman yung round off or round, kung i-round off siya. So, sige, tama yon, average. What else?
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, wait po. Wait.
Very good. Diba? So, tama yon. By the way, balik tayo dun sa sinabi ni Ivy kanina na grades. Actually, kasing grades, tama, na considered siya as continuous random variable dahil nga may average. Aside from that, not because dahil may average siya, or may decimal siya in between nun, hindi rin kasi natin talaga binibilang si average, right? Hindi naman tayo nagbilang na 1, 2, 3 tama mo, 3 tama mo, 98 ka. Di ba? Hindi naman ganun. So, ayun, may ginawa tayo doon, di ba? Inanalyze natin yung data. Ngayon, based on the examples given by your classmates, ano yung mga sinabi kanina? Temperature, weight, ayun nga, sige, let's consider average. Ano ang meron sa mga examples na yun in common? Ano yung common denominator nila? Bakit sila continuous random variable? Bakit sila may fraction? Bakit sila may decimals? Diba? Sa tingin nyo kaya, bakit tayo nagkaroon ng decimal? Or bakit kaya may fraction? Because, lakas ka mga Chris Aquino dito. Because, bakit kaya?
Sir, kasi po hindi siya exact.
Ayun. Actually, the opposite way, Irish. May decimals tayo or may fractions tayo. Kasi, tama yun siya. The exact na whole number. So that means, exact siya masyado. Napaka-specific ng value niya na kailangan makuha pati yung kambaga dito, yung butal. Yeah. Yun nga. Hindi siya exact na whole number. Dahil nga may butal siya, tama? Kaya kino-consider natin yung decimals and fraction. Bakit kaya exact siya? Bakit super specific niya? Bakit kaya may butal siya? Yun yung reason. Sige, bakit kaya? Let's take for example, ito na lang. Pwede natin consider si distance as a continuous random variable. Ngayon, sige, as a concrete example, from capital, kasi doon yung kilometer zero natin sa Palawan, from capital, let's take for example, yung school na Mateo Hagnis Elementary School is let's say 800 meters from the capital. Now, yung ating international airport, yung bago, yung sa harap banda ng Mercado de San Miguel, sabihin natin exact 1 kilometer yun from the capital kasi nandun yung kilometer marker. Kapag siya ay discrete random variable, sasabihin ko lang na si Mateo Hagnis and si airport ay 1 kilometer. Pareho silang 1 kilometer. But the thing is, mas malayo Si airport. Mas malayo siya compare kay Mateo Hagnes from the capital. Kaya kinonsider natin siya as continuous random variable dahil kailangan natin specify, kailangan natin mas exact yung layo ng Mateo Hagnes from the capital, pati nung airport, international airport from the capital. Ngayon, my question is, bakit kaya kailangan nating i-consider yung decimal and yung fractions sa continuous random variable? Bakit nag-i-exist si decimal and fractions? Bakit kaya nung elementary tayo, in-introduce sa atin yung fraction or yung decimal? Dati, bilang-bilang lang naman tayo dyan ng crayons, no, di ba? O, bakit kaya?
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, I think it is needed so that there would be no confusion to people within the interval of two specific values that are present po.
O, sige. Sige. Bakit yun nga. So, para ma-avoid yung confusions na mag-a-arise sa mga tao, dahil nga magkaiba, dahil nga if we are going to describe that as discrete random variable, it's just the same, right? Pero since it's a continuous random variable, we can, distinguish or differentiate the values of two objects being compared, right? Because they have their own values. That is exact. Now, how did we arrive? Or, sige mali. Sige, ito na lang muna. The first question kasi is ganito, i-paraphrase ko. Yung unang tanong ko, why is there a decimal or infraction as a value? Now, to paraphrase it, para medyo lumapit tayo doon sa answer natin, why is it necessary that, mali, sorry, ito yung talagang paraphrase. How did we come up na meron tayong fractions or decimal na value? O paano natin nasabi na si Mateo Hagmis ay 0.8 kilometers away from the capital and si airport ay 1 kilometer away from the capital? Kasi anong meron doon? So,
Sir,
yes, Cherry.
I think po it is because continuous random variable is measurable po.
Okay, very good. That's the correct answer. We have decimals and fractions because we need the value to be exact. And bakit natin kailangan ng exact? Kasi we have measurements and that is indeed the correct answer. So, the continuous random variables are often result, not really often result, but is a result of measurement. So, kapag ang isang bagay ay hindi kayang bilangin, just like a grain of the grain of sugar or a grain of rice, 'di ba? Papasok na doon si measurement. What or how can we How can we quantify an object if it's difficult to count, 'di ba? So it is with the use of measurement. Tama? Ang hirap parang just like I'm saying kanina, like I'm giving the example of Capital to Mateo Hagnis Memorial Elementary School and the airport, our international airport. If we are going to describe that using the kilometer marker that we have in our roads, that is 1 kilometer. Diba? That is before 1 kilometer. O sige, ganito na lang. Mateo Hagnis before 1 kilometer siya. Same way goes with sige yun din. Yung airport kasi medyo before 1 kilometer marker din, di ba? O, pag dinescribe natin yung dalawa, pareho lang sila ng description. But with the aid of measurement, we can differentiate the two objects being compared because of their distance from the capital. Madali natin ma-distinguish. And yun yung importance, yung bakit kailangan nating malaman if a random variable is discrete or continuous. Kasi may mga object na kaya nating bilangin, may mga object na hindi. And for us to quantify those variables, we need to have measurements. Now, here's the T chart. T talaga. So, since the variables and continuous random variables are measurable and has measurements, Ibig sabihin po, kapag may situation tayo na nag-state ng unit of measurement or anything that is not countable, it's all considered as a continuous random variable. Otherwise, if it's countable or madali lang naman bilangin, not really madaling bilangan, pero possible siyang mabilang, like human population, right? Like the number of books do you have, number of eyes do you have, eyes ba? Parang pinya, marami. Number of friends do you have, na those objects not necessarily need any measurement to determine its value. Those are discrete random variable. Otherwise, if it requires measurement to determine its quantity, or for an object to be quantify an object, that is continuous random variable. Okay? Naintindihan po ba? So, yon. Sige. Ngayon, class, ayan, magbibigay ako ng 3 scenario, 3 scenarios, and then all you have to do is to determine if it's continuous random variable or discrete random variable. Now, to give you an aid of how to do that, gagawin natin is to find the keyword in the sentence that I'm going to tell you. Okay, kasi hindi ko na siya in-encode para ma-practice din yung ating auditory skills. Ayan. Okay, sige, wait lang. Saan na yun? Okay, sige. Sabihin ko muna yung yung item, and then I will call someone who will tell me the answer and then why. Of course, my reason. Bakit nga ba yun yung answer mo? Okay. So number 1. Okay. This is the instruction of classify if the variable or the random variable if it's discrete or continuous. Okay. First example. The number of mobile phones sold in 1 week in AB store. The number of mobile phones sold in 1 week in AB store. Is it discrete or continuous? Sige, let's call someone to answer. Let's have sige. Sige, let's have Ben.
Sir,
Yes. What
can you
what
repeat it?
I repeat, okay. So determine if it's discrete or continuous random variable. So my situation is that the number of mobile phones sold in 1 week in AB store.
Discrete random variable, sir.
Okay, why is it discrete random variable?
Because it is taken to may stock po yun, sir, kung ilan po sir yung mga binili na phones po dun sa specific store po, sir. May measurement na po dun, sir.
Sure, may measurement kapag discrete.
Oh, corrected pala, sir.
Yeah, your answer is correct, but I guess your explanation is not that accurate as based on your answer.
Copy
Okay.
po kasi dito po, sir, konti. Kaya wala po ako minsan.
Okay. So sige. Thank you. Anyway, Ben, your answer is correct. But I guess that our example, which is the number of mobile phones, yun yung keyword, the number of mobile phones is a discrete random variable because we don't need any measurement to determine the number of phones. Diba? Countable. Nabibilang naman yung number of phones kahit 1,000,000 pa yan. Basta nabibilang. Di naman natin kailangan ng measuring device to measure that. So that is, that makes it discrete random variable. Okay? So thank you, Ben. Anyway, sige, let's proceed. Sige, second example, the weights in pounds of a newly born baby. The weights in pounds of newly born babies in hospital. The weights in pounds of newly born babies in a hospital. So let's have, sige, let's have Mary Chris. Nadinig ba? Mary Chris.
2:29 p.m.
Sir,
Yes, yes, Mary Chris.
kaka-join ko pa lang po.
Kaka-join mo pala. Okay, sige. Iba muna. Sino kaya? Sige, pass to... sige, Jed. Jed Angel. Ulitin ko ba? Sige, ulitin ko. The weights in pounds of newly born babies in a hospital nursery or in a hospital. The weights in pounds of a newly born babies in a hospital. Discrete or continuous? Narinig ba ako? Di ba nagtawag ako ng name? Sige, Jed Angel. Address ko na lang ulit. Wala? Ay,
Sir, sabi po ni Jed, putol-putol daw po yung dating niyo sa kanya.
okay. Pero hindi naman ako putol-putol sa iba. Hindi naman, di ba? Right?
Opo, sir.
Sige. Anyway, we have recorded ano naman. Sige, si Alan, nag-open mic. Sige, yes, Alan.
Sir, ano po, continuous po.
Okay.
Kasi may pound tsaka weight po. May
Okay.
measurement.
Very good. So that is one good explanation. Kahit weights lang, alam agad natin na i-measure yon with the timbangan, right? So that is a continuous. And this is also one key in determining if our given variable is continuous if merong unit of measurement na binigay. Katulad dito, sinabi pounds. So pag pounds, di ba? Ibig sabihin may measurement doon. So that is a continuous random variable. Okay. Sige, last two examples and then we will proceed to our next lesson. Okay, so we have the length of time spent in playing video games. The length of time spent in playing video games.
Sir,
Sige, Michael. Yes, Michael.
ano sir? Discrete sir.
Okay. Why is it discrete?
Kasi sir, ulit nga sir yung question ulit sir.
Okay, the length of time spent in playing video games.
Yung ano lang, yung length of time sir.
Yes, so siya ay
Discrete sir.
okay, sige, why is it discrete nga?
Kasi sir, countable sir, nabibilang.
Binibilang mo yung time? Parang sige. Is everyone agree with what Michael said? May ka-contra ba? Kasi pag yes, may contra. Ay, meron ba?
Sir,
Yes, Ivy.
I think it's continuous po because length of time is not that countable, sir. Also, it has the unit of seconds or minutes, sir.
Okay, so I guess Michael, Ivy is correct. That the length of time is actually continuous. Di ba may measurement tayo? Ngayon, kapag ang isang object ay may unit, di ba? Ano ba yung mga pwede natin gamit? Katulad ng sinabi ni Ivy, mayroong pwedeng seconds, pwedeng minutes, di ba? Pwedeng hours. So may unit siya. Kapag may unit siya at pwede siya lagyan ng unit, siya ay may measurement. And kapag siya ay measurable at may measurement, siya ay continuous random variable. Okay? So kahit walang unit dun sa given, basta ang isang variable ay measurable, that is continuous random variable. Di ba? Di ba meron pa ngayon dati kapag, di ba pag nag-time ka sa sarili mo, may mga 6.12 seconds. O may decimal agad dun sa seconds na yun, yung 0.12. So siya ay, siya ay continuous variable. Okay, sige. Anyway, thank you for sharing your answers naman. At least malinaw na sa atin ngayon, di ba? Okay, sige, last example. We have the number of students enrolled in grade 11 in your school. The number of students.
Sir.
Yes, sino pa yan? Yes, sino ba? Sina?
Sir,
Sir?
Sir?
Sir.
Sino di ko, sige, Kiara na lang muna. Sige, mamaya ka na.
Kaya na lang sir.
Sige.
Ano po? Discrete, sir. Kasi number po ng students, countable po siya.
Okay, countable siya. Okay, sige, very good. That is correct. Sige, isa na lang. Sige, total si Eli gusto mag-recite. Ito Eli, sakto pang sports. Okay, sige. Is it, discrete or continuous pa rin The number of points scored in a volleyball game. The number of points scored in a volleyball game.
Sir, I think it is discrete po.
Okay, why is it discrete?
Kasi po, sir, it is obtained by counting po.
Okay, sige, very good. That's correct. Actually, it's it's counting. Though in some of the sports, actually just like volleyball, joke lang, tama pala. Sa volleyball kasi, if you had basta yung goal, basta mapalanding mo yung bola sa kalaban, yun ay 1 point each. So it's countable. Every time that the ball touches the floor of the opponent, or someone has done any violation, that is still countable as 1 point, or it counted as 1 point. So it is still countable, and it is a discrete random variable. Same way goes with other sports na may may corresponding points, just like taekwondo. Sa taekwondo kasi, iba pag sinipa mo sa paa, mga 3 points or 5 points yun. Iba kapag pinush mo, sinipa mo sa baba. Though merong siya, corresponding points for every hit that you create, countable pa rin siya. It's that may bearing lang kada count. Okay? Yung mga ganon, points sa mga laro na hindi na kailangang sinusukat, that is a discrete random variable. Even pag-shoot sa basketball, di ba sa basketball, 3 points, 2 points, yun pa rin, continuous random variable pa rin yun. Sa tennis, ganon din. Ano pa ba? Ngayon kapag ang mga sports is athletics na, just like javelin throw, kasi hinahanap natin yung measure ng layo doon sa from the origin hanggang doon sa pinagliparan ng javelin, or swimming, kasi kailangan hanapin yung time. Yun ay continuous na, kasi we need measurements. We need measuring tools to determine kung sino yung mananalo. Okay? So yun po. Sige, let's proceed to lesson 2, since you already distinguished the difference between continuous and random. Okay? So ayun siya. Though alam ko madali lang din yung topic na yun, pero gusto ko lang may recitation kayo sa akin. Okay? Ayan. So our next lesson for this week, that actually included siya this week, is the discrete probability distribution. So when we say discrete, yun nga, siya ay countable. Now, since it is a discrete probability distribution, it can create, or we can create a probability distribution out of that. Like, syempre, may probability na, kunwari, may sa bahay ninyo, or sa bahay ninyo nga, magre-research ako kung ilan yung kapatid nyo, di ba? So some of you has 2 siblings, has 3 siblings, has no sibling at all, has 1 sibling, has 5 sibling or more. So nakadepende yon sa bahay nyo. And kunwari, kailangan maghahula ako, kunwari pupunta ako sa bahay na to, hulaan ko, 2 lang kapatid nito. So that is something to do with our discrete probability distribution. So a discrete probability distribution is the listing of all positive values of a discrete random variable along with their probabilities. So a discrete probability distribution can be written or can be presented in tabular. So ito yung usually natin gagawin, table, using table or matrix. It's tabular. Graphical, using a probability histogram, or formula form. Ayan. Kunwari, I'll give you one example of a discrete probability or a discrete random variable that we use. Okay. So I have here, ayan. I will toss a coin twice. O, bahala kayo kung paano kayo mag-toss. Okay, ngayon, the sample space is represented as HH, HT, TH, and TT, wherein H stands for the head and T stands for the tail. 'Di ba? Pag may coin kayo, kung saan yung may ulo doon ng bayani, yun yung head. Otherwise, yung likod niya ay tail. Ngayon sa first toss ko, ano nga ba yung probability ko na ano ba yung mga chances or yung mga outcomes na pwede kong makuha kapag nagtapon ako ng coin? 'Di ba? So I have head and tails. Tama? O yan, head, tails. Now, kapag tatapon ulit ako ng coin, ano ang mga possible na lumabas? Pwedeng heads and tails ulit. Ngayon, since dalawang beses ako nagtapon, dalawang outcomes na magkasama yung makukuha ko. So, pwedeng pagtapon ko ng dalawang coin, ng isang coin ng dalawang beses, pwedeng ang lumabas ay head muna bago head. Pwedeng head muna bago tail. Pwedeng tail muna bago head, or pwedeng tail lahat. So these are the possible outcomes, or what do we call the sample space. So the list of all the possible outcomes is what do we call the sample space. I know that it is actually taught in your junior high school, if I'm not mistaken, sa stat, kung may stat man kayo. So ayan. So head, head, tails, tails, head, and tail, tails. Kunin natin yung possible outcomes na to. Okay. Ayan na siya. So, kunin natin yung possible outcomes. So, if X is a random variable, out of tossing the coins, kasi yun ay event, sa isang event or sa isang event nga, meron yan dyang random variable. Kunwari, may gagawin ka. Kunwari, ako ang event ko is pupunta ako sa mga bahay. Ang random variable ko doon is yung number of siblings ng mga student ko. In this case, magtatapon ako ng coin. Ang random variables ko is kung ilang heads yung lalabas. So, yun yung random variable ko, which is nabibilang. Tama? At hindi mo naman sinasadya na maglabas yung head, di ba? Pagtapon mo, ay head yung lalabas kasi yun talaga. Di ba? Hindi mo naman sasadyain yun, di ba? Yun. So, this would be our random variable, yung number of heads. Ngayon, from the possible outcomes, itong apat na to, bibilangin natin yung number of heads. So, we have 2 heads here sa HH, HT isa, TH isa din, yung tails, walang head. Ngayon, class question, tanungin ko kayo, si HT ba, saka si TH, pareho lang? Similar ba sila? Or pareho ba sila? Iisa lang ba sila? Yes or no? Pabalik tayo dito. Iisa lang ba si HT and TH? Hello? Pareho hindi.
No, sir.
Oh, why no? Sino ba yun? Si Carl? Carl ba yun? Bakit no?
Kasi sir, yung isa sir, yun yung outcome ng isang coin. Tapos yung isang outcome sir, yun din yung outcome ng isang coin sir. Halimbawa, yung isang coin, ang pangalan niya coin number 1. Yung coin number 1, yung outcome niya is head. And yung coin number 2 naman sir, outcome niya is tail. So pag i-flip po ulit, tapos yung lumabas is yung outcome ng coin number 1 is tail and outcome ng coin number 2 is head. Magkaiba po.
Okay.
Ay, parang,
I get your point, Carl. Pero in this case, isang coin lang yung tinapon ko. Tinapon ko lang siya ng 2 beses. 'Di ba? So now, isang coin lang. When a coin is tossed twice or R. Bakit R? Kung ano? When a coin is tossed, bakit coin R? When a coin is tossed twice. Hindi ko napansin Ayan. O isang coin lang tinapon ko ng 2 beses. Yung kapag ba HT saka TH, pareho ba yan or hindi? Pero nagaget ko yung point ni Carl. Yes. Sino yun? Hindi ko nabantayan.
Sir,
Sige, Merry Chris.
Sir, Sir, iisa lang po kasi yung halimbawa po nung unang toast po ng coin, ang lumabas po ay pwedeng mauna po yung head, pwede naman po mauna yung tail. So same lang din po sila na yun nga po, same lang po sila.
Okay. Sige. Nagets ko naman yung point ni Mary Chris. Kasi nga, no, iisang head lang din naman yan sila pag tinapon. Pero class, actually, magkaiba sila. Yun na yung sagot. Magkaiba sila. Carl has a point, pero ang perspective niya is that meron tayong 2 coins. Tama yung sinabi niya na coin 1, may coin 2, ganon. Tapos, magkaiba naman sila. Yun point ni Carl. Which is not really our scenario here. Ang scenario natin dito is meron tayong isang coin and then itatapon natin siya ng what? Itatapon natin siya ng 2 beses. Ngayon, dahil nga 2 beses, magkaiba yung outcome ng unang tapon mo sa pangalawang tapon mo. Tama? So kung ang first toss mo ay head, ang second toss mo ay tail. Magkaiba siya sa first toss mo ay tail at ang second toss mo ay head. To give you or to convince you na magkaiba sila, kunwari, may exam kayo sa GenMath na parehong 15 points. Si student A, ang score niya sa first quiz na 15 points ay 10. Sa second quiz, ang score niya sa 15 items ay 12. Okay? Si student B naman, 12 points yung nakuha niya sa first quiz. And 10 points lang yung nakuha niya sa second quiz. Parehong quiz yun na may 15 points. Magkaiba ba yung scenario? Di ba magkaiba? Ibig sabihin, yung order is important. Especially that, yun nga, iisang bagay lang yung tinapon natin. Okay? So, yun siya. So, magkaiba ha? Magkaiba. May point na si Gerald kasi, si Carl Gerald, si Carl, na later kasi ang example natin, magtatapon na naman tayo ng coin ng sabay-sabay. Ganun. Ayun. So, sige, proceed na tayo. Kukunin natin yung magkaiba. Since magkaiba sila, they were independent with each other. Now, kunin nyo yung number of heads na meron tayo. Yun nga, may 2, may 1, may 1, and 0. Sa 4 na outcome na yan, meron tayong 4 na outcome sa pagtapon ng coin. Ano ang probability na lalabas ang walang head? Ano ang probability na wala tayong head na makuha in tossing the coin twice? So the answer is 1/4. Bakit 1/4? Kasi isa lang naman dito yung 0. Ilan yung 0 dito? 1. 1 outcome out of 4 possible outcomes. Kaya 1/4. Ayan siya. Next is 1. Ilan ang 1? Meron tayong 2 outcomes na magkakaroon tayo ng isang head. That is 2 outcomes out of 4 possible outcomes. So we have 2/4 or pag ni lowest term, we have 1/2. From 2/4 yan. Okay? So next is 2 heads o isa lang siya. So 1 outcome out of 4 possible outcomes, kaya siya ay 1/4. So yan siya. Okay? And itong table na to class, yung itong gray, itong yan, yung binabaksan ko ngayon, that is the probability distribution of this event. Okay po? Malinaw po ba? Later on, gagawa tayo ng probability distribution ng discrete variable or discrete random variable. Ayan. As I'm saying, pwede nating i-present yung ating discrete probability distribution using a graph. in the form of probability histogram. During face-to-face period, face-to-face period, nung may face-to-face pa, pinapagawa ko pa to sa students ko. Pero since limited nga lang yung time natin, wag na muna. We will go down to the core agad, which is how to create a discrete probability distribution. Kasi yun yung lagi niyong ginagamit. Okay? Ayan. So now let's have a discrete probability distribution. So we have two properties of a discrete probability distribution. Number one, the probability should be in between 0 and 1 lang. So ibig sabihin, pag kinonvert kasi si 0 and 1 to percent, 0 to 100% lang yon. Di ba class? Ang probability lagi is in between 0 and 100% lang. So dapat, ang probability natin is between 0 and 1 lang. I-check natin yung kanina. In between 1 naman silang, 0 and 1 naman sila. Bawal din mag-negative. Okay? So, yan. Pag may isa dyan, class, na nagsobra na sa 1, hindi na siya agad probability or di na siya agad discrete probability distribution. Okay? Tignan natin sa histogram. Ito, 0.25, 0.5, 0.25 din. Di ba? Ay, sorry. Wait lang. Gulat ako sa mga aso na. Ayan. Stress ako bigla. Ayan, basta yun. And the next is that the sum of all the probability should be equal to 1. So, pag, tatawa tayo sa aso. So, pag pag yung lahat ng probabilities natin, in-add natin, lahat-lahat yon, that is equal to 1. Okay? So, natawa ko kasi naalala ko, recording nga itong discussion natin, that's may tahol ng aso. Ayun. So, pag pinag-add natin tong 1/4, tong 1/2, and tong 1/4, may calculator naman kayo dyan, kayo na mag-check. Lahat po yan, pag sinam natin, equal dapat yan kay 1. Okay. O pwede rin 1/4 plus 2/4, 3/4 plus 1/4, 4/4, equal siya sa 1. Okay. O, yun. Kapag dito sa properties natin, may hindi na satisfy, hindi na siya discrete probability distribution. Ayan. Ito. Sige, I'll give you, oras na ba? Sige, I'll give you siguro 2 minutes to check which of this or which of this is or are example or examples of discrete probability distribution. Alin sa mga set ng distribution na to ang hindi discrete probability distribution? Sige. Ngayon, using our properties here, alamin kung alin dyan ang hindi discrete probability distribution. Okay, so now I will let you do the work. So after 2 minutes, so anong oras na ba? So after 2 minutes, we will check your answers. Okay, and then I will call 3 students, of course, to answer. Okay, so your 2 minutes starts now. Okay, okay na? Sige. Tatawag na ako ha. Okay, sige. Let's have... hindi ko natawag. Sige. Let's have Christine. Sige. Pili ka na lang ng letter mo. Ay, narinig niya ba ako? Ay, yun nga. Hello. Ayan. Christine. Ayan. Christine Eve Caballas ba to? Ayan. Sige, pili ka ng letter. Tapos, tell me if it's a discrete probability distribution or not. Wait lang. Nagsalita ba siya? Wala. Nakamute si Christine. Sino siya? Hello, Christine. Sige, pass mo na si Christine. Tawagin natin siya later on. Basta siya yung huli. Okay, next. Sige, ano muna? Sige, Shen. Si Shen. Okay, si Shen. Pipili siya ng isang table. Tapos sasabihin niya sa atin kung siya ay discrete probability distribution ba? Based dun sa properties natin. Sige, Shen. Plus, naririnig ba ako? Parang feeling ko, naririnig niyo. May nakakarinig sa akin. Hello?
Opo, sir.
Ayun, meron naman pala. Sino na yung mga natawag ko? Sige, mukhang di pa tapos yung mga natawag ko. Sige, sige, any volunteer na lang muna.
Sir?
Yes, sino yan? Sige, sige, kung sino yung choose na lang. Sige, Ivy, choose table, any table, tapos tell us if it's a discrete probability distribution. And tell if why is it and why not? Kung, oo. Sige,
Table B po, sir.
Okay, table B.
Table B is not a discrete probability distribution, sir, due to the fact that there is an element there that is more than one, and then the other one is that the sum of the elements there is equal to 2, which is neglecting the second property that the sum of the probability should be equal to 1, sir.
Okay, so that is correct. So, kung nakinig kayo kay Ivy, her explanation is actually accurate, and that is very, very correct, right? Kasi in-explain niya lahat ng kung ano yung hindi nasunod nitong B, ng distribution letter B. Okay, based on our properties earlier, ayan, balikan lang natin. The property 1 is that all elements should be in between 0 and 1. But the one element here, specifically itong 6/5, it's not actually equal, or it's not actually in between the range of 0 to 1. So more than 1 siya. So since it neglects, it did not satisfy the first property, therefore it's not a discrete probability distribution anymore. Why? Because for a distribution to be a discrete probability distribution, it should follow, or it should satisfy the two properties given earlier. Okay? So kahit isa lang yung explain ni Ivy, di na siya agad discrete probability distribution. Ayun nga. Since itong 6.5 is more than 1 agad, therefore, hindi na talaga siya mag-i-equal sa 1. So that also neglects our second, second property. So B is not a discrete probability distribution. Okay. Sige, next. Who would like to volunteer?
Sir?
Ay, wait lang. Hindi ko nakita. Sino po iyon? Sige, game.
Sir?
Kiara ba? Yes.
Po. Table A po.
Okay, table A, Kiara. Yes.
Not, ano po siya, sir, discrete.
Okay, not a discrete probability distribution. So why not?
Knowing that the elements specifically in the table 5, sir, is not, it's greater than 1, thus that table is not a discrete probability, sir.
Saan ulit? Sorry.
Ulit, sir. Knowing, sir, that the one element in the table, sir, specifically in the number 5, 3 times sir, multiplied by 5 isn't equal to 1, sir. Thus, it makes the table is not a discrete probability distribution po.
Oh, so here, ito ba yun? Ito? Hinanap ko kasi
1.5 siya, sir.
si 3 over 10?
Opo. Times 5. 1.5 po yung lumabas sa akin.
Did the properties states ba na we need to multiply that with the ano with the x, with the upper part? Wala naman, 'di ba? So wala.
Sir, multiply ko yung akin.
So hindi, ganito. Sige, clarify natin. Sige, since ginawa siya ni Kiara, more probably gagawin din siya ng iba. So yon. Class, I forgot din, na-neglect ko rin palang sabihin, na walang kinalaman si x, yung mga random element na yung ito, yung taas natin, walang kinalaman si x sa mga values sa P of x. So wag niyo siya ipagko-combine. Though si x, itong yung ating mga random variables or random values natin dyan sa taas, yan yung hahanapan natin ng probability. But, kapag nagko-compute na tayo, di pa natin siya gagalawin muna. Okay? So, yon. Sige, Kiara, balikan kita. So, is A still, what's this? Is A now a discrete probability distribution? Yung mga x dyan class sa taas, nominal pa lang yan siya. When we say nominal, label pa lang yan siya kasi nilagay ko lang dyan muna numbers. Pero pwede yan siyang palitan ng letters, ng words or what. Later, gagawin natin siya mamaya. So, yun. Sige, ano na yung A? Sige, sige, kay Kiara na tong A ha. Okay, sige, babawi kasi siya. How about C? Baka may gusto mag-volunteer.
Sir?
Sino po yun?
Sir?
Sige, si Ian. Tama ba? Margaret. Tama?
Irish po.
Ay, so Irish po. Bakit si Margaret yung naka-
Irish po, sir.
Sorry. Irish, sure. Sige, Irish, yes.
Sir, yung letter C po, hindi po siya discrete kasi yung sum po ng P of X is more than 1.
Oh, okay. So, tama. So, thank you, Irish. That is correct. So, C is also not a discrete probability distribution. Why? Because sige, check mo natin isa-isa. First property, does it satisfy the first property? Yes, I don't see any probability here. Yung P of X, wala siyang probability dyan na more than 1 or less than 0. So, it satisfies the first property. But on the other hand, just like what Irish have said, the sum of all the probabilities here in set C is equal to, I think it's 1.02, if I'm not mistaken. So it's more than 1. So that makes this distribution not a discrete probability distribution. Hindi po siya discrete probability distribution. Okay. Sige, ito pala, explain. Sige, before we proceed to A. Sige, itong P of X class, it's not a function. P of X stands for the probability of X. When we say probability of X, ito yung probability ng X kung ilan ang chance na mag-occur yung mga elements ng ating random variable, ng mga ating discrete random variable. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, ilan ang probability na 1 ang lalabas? So 0.23, yun siya. Kaya P of X. Okay. Sige. Sige, balik na tayo. Okay na tayo, Kiara? Laban
Sir,
na?
okay na po.
Sige.
Okay na. Sir, not pa rin, sir.
Okay, not pa rin. Bakit? Sige.
Kasi po yung total sum po nila is 1.15.
Okay, so that's correct. So, yun nga, nasatisfy niya yung first property. Thank you, Kiara. Ayan. Nasatisfy niya yung first property because wala dito sa mga sa probabilities ang more than 1 and 0. And then, pag pinag-add siya, it's actually equal to 23/20 or 1.15. Which is hindi niya na naman yung nasatisfy yung ating second property, just like with letter C. So, none of these sets are examples of discrete probability distribution. But if a distribution, if a table satisfies the two properties that we have earlier, ito, yung dalawang ito, pag nasatisfy itong dalawang ito, yun ay discrete probability distribution na. So, yun po. Ayan. Ngayon, based on the property, sige, complete the discrete probability distribution that we have. Okay, so we have A, B, and C. Ako nang gagawa ng B and C muna. Ito hardcore na to. Mahirap na to siya. Pero sige, nagbigay lang ako ng example. Okay, sige, A muna. So kung papapansin nyo, katulad ng sinabi ko kanina klase A, yan ay random variable. Nominal lang siya. I mean, label lang muna siya so far. Okay, so blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Yan yung ating mga random variables. Kunwari, ano yan? Favorite color. Ganun. Yan po yung mga ating favorite color. Now, ang probability ng blue ay 0.06. Green is 0.23. Orange is 0.35. And red is 0.05. Now, what is the probability of yellow that it satisfies the properties of a discrete probability distribution to have our set A be a discrete probability distribution? So, ano yung gagawin natin para mahanap natin yung probability ni yellow na masatisfy niya na siya ay isang discrete probability distribution?
Sir,
Yes po.
try lang, sir.
Sige, try po. Sige. Paano, Alan?
Para po makuha po yung yellow tsaka maging discrete siya, i-add po lahat ng lahat po ng colors tapos i-minus sa 100 po.
Okay. Tapos po, and then, yung answer nun is yung magiging yung answer ba nun ay yung tama, di ba? Yung answer nun is yung magiging probability ng yellow, right? Okay. So, Alan has a point. O, tama. Yun kasi talagang gagawin. Pero medyo i-ano natin siya. I-explain na natin siya ng ano. Kasi may mga points doon na na medyo semplang. Kunwari, sige, game. Okay. To find the probability of yellow, ayan, we need to what? We need to add all the probabilities of the other colors. So yung P of X natin kasi yung probability, yung 0.6 na yan, probability yan ng lahat ng kulay. Now, ipag-add natin lahat ng probability. So we have 0.06, 0.23, 0.35, and 0.05. Sige nga, tulungan niyo ko. Ano yung sum?
1.14 po.
Yung sum nitong apat?
0.69 po.
Ilan?
0.69, sir.
Okay, 0.69. Yun yung sum ng red, ng orange, ng green, and ng blue. Now, sabi ni kanina ni Alan, ayun, may ima-minus daw tayo. Ngayon, saan natin siya ima-minus?
Sa 1 po, sir.
Okay. Sige, tama yun sa 1. Bakit nga natin siya ima-minus sa 1? Kasi based on our second property, remember that the sum of all the probabilities are equal to 1. Ngayon, kung nawawala man to, alam natin na pag pinag-add natin tong 5 na to, ang sagot ay 1. The thing is, nawawala nga si yellow. Ngayon, para manap si yellow, ibig sabihin, pag-add mo lang yung hindi yellow, so yung lahat ng kulay maliban sa yellow, i-minus mo siya doon sa 100. Or sorry, sa 1. So 1, 'di ba? So 1 minus 0.69, kung ano yung answer nun, yun yung magiging value ni yellow. So that is
0.31.
That is 0.31. So the probability of yellow is 0.31. Ayan siya. Same way goes with letter B. Kasi dalawa lang. The thing is, di ko na to i-class example ha, kasi di ko naman siya bibigay as example. Siguro dahil nga medyo nirarush ko na para, kasi baka parang mag-ano tayo, magto 2 hours. Ayan. Sige, ito, ang gagawin dito, ipag-add lang tong mga kulang. Since equal si 2 and 4, ayan, magiging ano yan siya, magiging 2x. And then ipag-add yung the rest. Ayun, pero panoorin nyo na lang yung ibang examples ko sa ibang section. Anyway, wala namang ganito pa sa sa ating learning activity sheet. So laktawan ko muna ha para medyo rush tayo. Si C naman, since equal ito silang lahat, 'di ba ang sum ay 1, i-divide mo lang kung ilan sila, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, dahil nga yun yung sum ng lahat, over kung ilan sila, so 5. So yun ay 1/5. Okay. O parang kayo din, nilista ko lahat ng students dito. Ilan ang probability na matawag kayo? So kunwari, 13 kayo ngayon sa Zoom meeting natin ngayon, ang probability na matawag kayo ay 1/13. Okay. O 14 tayo ngayon kasi kasama ako. Pero 13 lang kayo. Okay? So yun. So the probability na, yun nga, na kayo ay matawag ay 1/13. Kasi, hindi na ako nag-minus-minus kasi nga, di ba? Lahat kayo may equal chance na matawag. So, ganun siya. Okay, mabilis na lang to. Ngayon class, maggagawa tayo ng discrete probability distribution. Okay. So, yun po. So, gagawa tayo ng discrete probability distribution. Okay. Kaya maingay kasi dito. Okay, so, ayan po. Kunin natin, ito meron tayong spinner. Ang spinner pwede ring roulette. Okay? Ngayon, dahil nga ito ay discrete probability distribution, let's assume na yung ating variable, ating random variable, yung ating random variable x are the elements of the spinner, which is the color of the regions of the spinner. So if we have the spinner here, and obviously it is divided into 5 parts, o assume na lang natin na equal parts yan lahat. What are the elements of our spinner? Ano meron sa spinner natin? Hinati siya sa 5 and then kinulayan siya. Yun yung magiging random variable natin. So what are the random variables?
Brown, yellow, green.
Okay, brown, yellow, and green. Ngayon class, hahanapin natin yung probability ng mga random variable na ito. Bakit random? Kasi di nga natin alam kung anong lalabas pag pinaikutin yung spinner na yan, di ba? What is our P of X? Our probability of X. Ano ang probability na brown ang makuha?
3/5.
Okay, we have 3/5. Bakit naging 3/5? Kasi out of 5 parts, out of 5 regions that we have 3 parts colored by brown. So 3 parts na brown over kung ilan lahat ng outcomes na pwedeng lumabas, which is 5. So the probability that a brown will come out when we spin a spinner, when we spin the spinner, yun nga, is 3/5. Alam nyo na yun sa yellow and green. So we have 1/5 kasi 1 yellow out of 5 parts and 1 green out of 5 parts. Lahat naman yan sila less than 1. Pag pinag-add natin silang tatlo, equal to 1. Okay? So this is the discrete probability distribution of this spinner. Okay. O, di ba madali lang? Kasi gagawa kayo yun sa exam. Sa last pala, sorry. Okay, proceed tayo. Okay, ito. Create a discrete probability distribution with this spinner naman. O, sige. Label ko na lang yung, ito sky blue to ha. Sky blue. Ito, blue na lang. O, sige. Kung colors pa rin yung ating random variable, what are our variables? Sige nga. Okay na magbigay. Magsulat lang ako.
Red,
Okay, red.
sky blue, blue, violet, yellow, and brown po.
Sky blue. Sige, abbreviate ko na. Sky blue, blue, yellow, brown, violet. So, ayun. Madali lang siya, di ba? Pipakita ko lang. Brown and violet. Now, what is the probability that we get a red when we spin the spinner?
4/10 po, or
So, okay, 4/10. But remember, if it's pwede pang lowest term. So that we have 2/5. 2/5. Oh, next, sige. Tama ba? 2/5. Oh, yeah. Sige, next. Sky blue. Ilan ang probability na sky blue? Okay, we have
1/10 po.
Okay, so we have 1/10. Okay. Next po, blue.
1/10 din po.
Okay, 1/10. How about yellow?
1/10.
Okay. So we have 1/10. How about brown?
1/10.
10. Okay. How about violet?
2/10 po. 1/5.
Okay, so 2/10 or 1/5. Or 1/5. Oh, pag pinag-add nyo lahat yung ano na yan, discrete, probability distribution na yan, yan po ay magiging equal to 1. Okay? O, di ba marunong na kayo? O, what if, yun ay pag spinner. O, what if pag coins? Di ba? O, gagawin lang natin yung katulad kanina. O, sige, lista natin. So, first toss, second toss, third toss, saka fourth toss. Okay, so first toss, of course, head and tails na yung lalabas. Okay, sa second toss, heads, tail ulit. O, so, mag-branch out yan siya. Ayun. Ay, nag-chat pala si Kim Yasam, hindi ko napansin. Hindi ata siya makasayta sa Okay. O, sige, next. Third toss natin. Ay, ano pala to? 4 coins. Ito na yung sasabi ni Carl kanina. So, head, tails, head, tails. Ito ay first coin, second coin, third coin, fourth coin. So, head, tails, head, tails. Tapos, yan. Fourth toss, may branch ulit yung dulo. Kasi nga, yan yung mga combinations niya. Head, tails, 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 head, tails. Ngayon, what are the combinations? Ayun na, head, 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 head. Yan. Saan nakikita nyo siya? Head, 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 tails. Gulo lang kasi yung pagkakasulat ko, class, kasi hirap magsulat sa pen tab. Tapos head, head, tails, head. Head, head, tails, tails. Feeling ko na ganito na kayo dati. Kaya dapat medyo familiar na kayo.
Yes,
Tapos,
sir.
meron na 'di ba? Ayun. O yung iba, sige, sa mga iba pa lang, students. So ganito yun siya ginagawa, okay? So we have head, saan na tayo? Tails. Head, tails, head, head. Head, tails, head, tails. Head, tails, tails, head. Head, tails, tails, tails. O, tails na tayo. Tails, head, head, head. Tails, head, head, tails. Tails, head, tails, head. Tails, head, tails, tails. Tails, tails, head, head. Tails, tails, head, tails. Dami ha. Tails, 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 head. Saka tails, 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 tails. Now, sinabi dyan, ano ang ating random variable? Yan pala yung event. Pag nagtapon tayo na 4 na coins, yan yung combination. But, ano ang ating random variable? Ano class yung random variable natin? Nasa problem yan siya.
Yung 4 coins.
Ito yung event natin. Tossing 4 coins.
Heads, sir.
Number of heads, sir.
Okay, very good. Yung number of heads. Yan yung ating random variable. Kasi hindi naman natin sinadya na yung tossing mo of 4 coins, sinadya natin na tayo magtatapon nun. Pero yung number of heads, yung lalabas na number of heads, yun yung hindi natin sinadya. And yun yung ating random variable. Okay? Ayun. Usually yung random variable ay sinasabi kapag word siya. Pero kapag figure siya, madali yun siya makita. Katulad sa spinner. Yun yung random variable, kung ano yung mga object. Now, ngayon kung random yung number of heads, bilangin natin yung number of heads. Ito 4. Yan, isa-isahin natin yan siya. So 4, 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1. Ayan. So we have 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, and 0. Yan siya, di ba? Ngayon, class, yung mga numbers na lumabas sa number of heads, kung ano yung mga numbers na nandyan, yun yung ating mga values ng random variable. So, ano yung mga values ng random variable natin na lumabas? We have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Kasi, yan yung mga paulit-ulit na numbers na lumalabas. So, pag gagawa tayo ng, ng ating discrete probability distribution, yun yung X natin, yung number of heads. Ilan ba yung mga number of heads na possible? 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Ito na yung ating sa gilid. Ayan. Sige. Ano ang probability? Sorry. Sige, ilan muna yung number of outcomes natin, class? Nakalimutan ko sabihin. Ha?
16.
16. Tama. Kasi ito yung shortcut dyan, class. 2 coins raised, 2 coins, sorry. 2 faces, di ba? 2 ang face ng coin. 2 faces ng coin raised kung ilan yung tinapon or kung ilang beses siya tinapon. So, ibig sabihin, 2 raised to 4 tayo. 2 raised to 4. Ang answer natin ay 16. So, 16 outcomes. So, from the 16 outcomes, sige, dito na tayo. Meron na kasi tayong random variables. Meron na tayong values ng random variables. Hanapin na natin yung probability. Out of the 16 outcomes, ilan dyan yung hindi tayo makakakuha ng heads? Yung 0 heads, ilan?
1/16 po.
Okay, ito, isa lang. So, ibig sabihin, 1/16. How about kapag makakuha tayo ng isang head? What is the probability?
1/4, sir.
Okay, kasi that is 4/16. Kasi ito, 1, 2, 3, 4. Over 16, 4/16. And then yung lowest term niya ay 1/4. Next. 2. Yung 2 naman, ilan? Ilan yung 2 natin? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 out of 16 outcomes, possible outcomes. So pag nilowest terms is 6/16, that is 3/8. O, 3 na tayo. Ilan yung 3? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 out of ilang outcomes?
16 po.
16. So 4 over 16 or 1/4 din. And lastly, meron tayong isang 4 dyan, kaya 1 out of 16. So that is how we create a probability distribution when we are about to toss coins. Or tossing coins multiple times. Or toss a coin multiple times, rather. Ganyan siya. Okay. May question po? Sige. How about the other members of the class? Pangkit lang tayo ng pakunti. Ayan.
None po.
Sige. Okay, na yung number of coins. So, ito na tayo. Ito spinner din. Pero walang drawing. So, tayong gagawa. So, create a discrete probability distribution of a spinner divided to 6 regions with letters K, A, L, K, A, and M. So, kunwari yan yung mga letters. Naglagpas sa bilog yung spinner ko. Kunwari, may spinner daw. Yan. Kasipin nyo na lang yung spinner ko bilog perfect. Tapos hinati daw to 6 equal parts or 6 regions. Kunwari, pag nagde-divide class, usually equal ha. Yan. So, 6 regions. So, ayan siya. Tapos may mga letters daw kada region. So, 6 letters din yan. So, K-A-L, K-A-M. Ngayon, class, ano yung random variable natin? Siyempre, yung mga letters na hindi natin inaasang lalabas. Okay, usually, yun yung ating random variable. So, our X is kung ano yung mga letters. Kapag numbers yung nakalagay dyan, o numbers. O pag animals, animals. O bahala kayo. So, yun. Ngayon, what is the probability ng mga variables na yung lalagay din natin dito? Okay, check natin. Ano ang random variables?
Yung sir, K, A, L.
So, K, A, L, and M. Ayan. O pag naulit, doon na din siya. Okay, so ilan ang probability na ang lalabas ay K? From the 6 regions, ilang region dyan yung may K?
Dalawa po.
So, dalawa. So, our probability would be 2 over 6 or 1/3 pag K. O, ganun din sa A. Dalawa din. So, 2 over 6. So, lowest term, 1/3. Pag L, isa lang. So, we have 1 over 6. Pag M ay isa lang, 1 over 6 din. So, the discrete probability distribution of a sphere divided to 6 regions with letters K, A, L, K, A, and M is this one. Pag pinag-add nyo yung mga probabilities na to sa baba, 1 yan yung answer. Okay po. May question po ba kayo? Okay. If you have clarifications with what's this? With the topics that we had discussed today, don't worry, I will let you watch the video from the other sections discussion. So baka mamayang gabi ko i-upload. What's this? I also uploaded there the DepEd TV video, DepEd TV episode of Statistics and Probability for week 1. Baka magamit niyo siya. And ayun, and of course the module. Baka talaga makatulong din sa module sa inyo kahit paano. Now, before we end our discussion for today, ayan, sige, end ko muna yung yung ating Zoom meeting video.